Hello YouTube. Today I want to talk to you about two of my most favorite things, and that is feminism and football. And this last season, I really fell in love with football. Like, I've enjoyed it for a while, but this past season was pretty amazing. Except while I was enjoying football, I also felt kind of uncomfortable because I consider myself a feminist, and just like from my understanding of feminism, I had a lot of issues with football and sports in general, really, but mostly football. And so I thought I would talk to you all about that today. And I should preface this by saying that obviously these are just my views, these are not the views of all feminists, because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This is just my understanding and analysis of football through a feminist lens and like all that I've learned about feminism throughout my 4 years of college. Okay? Okay. So my first issue with football doesn't even have to do with feminism. It's more just a general I don't hate other people type thing. And that is that people get injured playing the sport. Not like little injuries, but like really bad injuries. Like kids who are 16 and playing football in high school aren't able to play football in college and professionally because they were injured playing football. And also all of like the mental injuries that go on with football. You hear about like these 40 and 50-year-old professional football players who have dementia because they've been hit or have been hitting other people so many times throughout their career. And I think it's crazy that we support a sport that hurts the people we like. My second problem with football kind of stems from the issue of football being like so popular in our culture. And I think it's fine that people like football. Like, it's okay for people to like things. As a nerd, I think that's awesome. But when so much emphasis is placed on a sport that in the sport values competition like any sport does, and it creates this us versus them mentality, which like isn't necessarily bad all the time, but I think legitimizing it in the sports arena helps to legitimize it in other areas of our lives, such as the workplace and politics. And so when it's okay to have two teams competing and one winner and one loser, very clear cut, I think that's problematic when we apply that to our political system, because I don't like the idea of our current two-party system and how one side has to win and one side has to lose. Like, why can't politics be about compromising? And the same thing with the workplace. We value competition and it sort of undermines cooperation, and I think that's especially problematic given that our society tends to view competition as very masculine and cooperation as feminism, and then you're placing competition, the masculine thing, above other feminine attributes. My third problem with football is just how male dominated it is. You have men playing the game, men coaching the game, men refereeing the game, men commenting on the game, mostly men watching the game while eating their manly meaty food and manly beer. Like, that's what all the commercials you see are like, buy these tacos for the game because they're manly, or buy this beer because it's manly. Like, I can't deal with all of this sexist advertising. And when women are in the game, when like they may be cheerleaders on the side, then you see them being valued for their beauty and not their skill, like you see the male athletes being valued for. Or female fans tend to have like pink everything, like a pink jersey, pink all of the fan stuff. I don't understand why it needs to be pink. And finally, my biggest problem with football is how we glorify the players and almost treat them like gods. Like, there's nothing they can do wrong. I understand like these people are performing great physical feats and that's great, but that doesn't mean they're the most important thing ever. And this kind of hits close to home because a couple of years ago, a girl at my school actually committed suicide after she reported that she was sexually assaulted by a football player. And the whole thing was just kind of swept under the rug because, heaven forbid, we question the football program that brings in a ton of money for the school. And whenever this happens, because it does happen surprisingly frequently at the high school, college, and professional level, you see people talking about, well, we don't want to ruin these men's future, so we're just gonna like slut shame the girl or just like pretend it never happened, and so that these people can continue their career, because the players are more important than the women they have committed crimes against. And that is not okay. It annoys me that football is almost treated like a religion in America, and that if anyone questions it or tries to criticize it, people will just shut them down. Like, no, I think pretty much everything in society is up for debate and should be criticized, and we should look at things critically, because everything's going to have its problems, and it's only if we address these problems that we will be able to fix them. So in conclusion, I would just like to say that I still like football. I'm probably still going to enjoy to watch it, but that isn't going to change the fact that football isn't perfect. And I just wish that the football industry and just like American culture in general would be willing to recognize these problems. And I wish that football weren't so glorified in our culture, but that's just kind of the way it is. So on that depressing note, I hope you all have a good week, and I will see you all next week.